Welcome back to this Hannity investigation. Chaos on the southern border. We're here in McAllen, Texas, getting a first-hand look at just how bad things have now deteriorated on the border. And although President Obama was in Texas this week, he did not take time out of his busy schedule to do the same.
There's nothing that is taking place down there that I am not intimately aware of and briefed on. This isn't theater. This is a problem. I'm not interested in photo ops. I'm interested in solving a problem.
Now, President Obama should be here more than us, but apparently our commander-in-chief is just too busy. Now, instead of getting a border tour with Governor Perry like I got today, he decided to go fundraising to grandstand, and yes, he even found some time to play some pool. Now, this is video proof that the president is truly out of touch with what's really going on. Joining us now from Washington, D.C. to react to this and much more is Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert. Congressman, wish you were down here with us. It's great to be in your home state. How are you, sir?
As soon as we finish here, I'm headed right down there. I don't know, I'll catch you, but I'm headed right there as soon as we finish. Thank you for being there. And, you know, it's kind of like the Music Man said. He was playing a pool that begins with P and that rhymes with T, and that stands for trouble right here in River City. And this president, you know, I tell you, I don't know if it hit you, Sean, but you remember the abuse that President Bush took when that picture came to light of him looking out the window of the plane down at New Orleans after Katrina? Well, this president won't even look out the window, but it sounds like he went back and got his Bush's spokespeople's explanations as to why he wasn't down there, and they're recycling the same explanations. Who knows if it'll work for this president?
I guess there's one big difference. I think you're raising a very valid point, Congressman, and that is that, you know, this president had no trouble when Hurricane Sandy hit, going up to New Jersey again and again and again and hugging Governor Christie, and that was a natural disaster. But I would argue that this is a disaster that Obama made for himself. Am I wrong there?
Well, actually, this is a disaster that he made for himself. And, Sean, I didn't realize until today how much he has made it this bad himself. Now, we know from January they were already asking for transportation for the tens of thousands of children that they said would be coming in the coming months. They knew. And when the president created his own law out of whole cloth and just pronounced, I don't like the law that was put into place by prior Congresses and presidents, so I'm pronouncing a new law. Here it is, and this is what allows you to stay. That was the beginning of this lawlessness on our border, and people hearing you can come and stay. And what I found out today, I was trying to put together a bill, and because the Speaker loves me, get somebody else's name as lead on the bill. That's how I get my bills passed. But we're wanting to fix this problem where they just hand these people a notice and say, this is when you come back to court. Well, Sean, it turns out even when you're from non-contiguous countries like El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, even under the Wilberforce bill, if you are an adult or if you are a child with an adult, you're not entitled to see a judge. You're not entitled to a hearing. You're supposed to be turned right around and sent right back over the border. Well, they're holding them. They're providing them lawyers, all this stuff. It's not necessary under the Constitution or law.
Congressman, there are two specific things that I want to ask you about as it relates to the law.
Yeah.
Now, number one, the president, like any other law, seems that he makes changes on his own unilaterally, and that's been a big problem, number one. Number two is he made a conscious decision not to enforce the immigration laws, but also have the Act of 2008, where there is a separate and distinct classification for people from Central America versus, for example, a child in Mexico. Now, the president was lobbied by the ACLU and other people in June not to have the same standard where they could actually send these kids back. Can you change that? The president talks about building consensus. Would he do that?
Absolutely. I've been talking to lots of members of the House. We're ready to fix that because, Sean, It is so grossly unfair to Mexico and to Canada to treat their people, their children, differently than we treat others just because they're on the other side. That's not right. We need to treat all people equally. But the thing is, Sean, we've been told that, this applies to everybody from non-contiguous countries, and actually it only applies to the children, that they're supposed to get their chance with a judge. All the others are supposed to be turned around, even children that are with adults, and this president has chosen to violate that law. But I think in the House, we'll get a law, we'll get that fixed.
Congressman, there's two issues the president, he kept saying the supplemental, the $3.7 billion. Yeah. Now, and then he said, well, he lashing out against Republicans. My question is, do you really need $3.7 billion, number one? And number two, if everybody agrees that we should secure the border and secure it first, which I think you would agree with, why don't we just do that one thing now?
And that's what we can do, what we should do. And keep in mind, it was the Obama administration under Janet Napolitano that said, look, I know that Congress has already provided us with $4 billion to fix a big hunk of the border so that we're protected. But she announced, we're not going to do that border plan. We're not going to have a virtual wall. We're doing away with all that stuff. And she helped create the situation we're in now. But yes, we can do that with a bill. We can stop it right now. What we need to do is get National Guard down on the border like one of our least favorite presidents, Woodrow Wilson, did after Pancho Villa's gangs came in and killed some family. He put this new thing called National Guard, and the Constitution referred to as militia. He put them on the border, and he secured the country. Of course, he sent General Pershing into Mexico after Pancho Villa. We don't need to do that. We just need to turn people around and not let them get on our soil unless they come through the right way.
Last question, Congressman. Is there any chance that Republicans that control the House are going to give this president $3.7 billion? Is there any chance that's going to happen, especially if he's not going to secure the border?
I cannot imagine that happening, and if it did, I'd be in the wrong party. We just cannot do that, and I think there's enough of us that will raise Cain about doing that. Sean, with 57,000 children that have come in, he needs $67,000 per child. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. I know a lot of people that will take them back personally to their homes for a whole lot, only a fraction of that $67,000.
Yeah. And by the way, they also belong back with their parents where they should be.
That's right.
Congressman, thank you.
And that's what we need to do. Sean, we've got to reunite the children with their parents and send them all back to their homes. That's what we need to do. Reunification of families and send them back home.
Congressman, thank you. Appreciate it.